Hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I know you have millions of ways to spend this evening, but you choose to be here tonight, and really appreciate that. My name is Jing Conan Wang. I am a co-founder of FounderCoHo Founder Community, and I'm also your host today. So bear with me for the next hour. So this is my passion project. I do have a day job, which is also a founder. I'm a founder of a company called DeepVista. So as I'm building the company, I realize that founder journey is very isolating. There's numerous questions in our mind that we want to ask people. But a lot of times we don't have people to ask. We couldn't ask sometimes even our significant others because they don't have the experience, the context we do. And through experience, I realized having the support from fellow founders is crucial for the success of the founder. So that's the reason we build the FounderCoHo. We host events like this almost every 3-4 weeks. And we also do founder interviews. We have a YouTube channel, also called FounderCoHo. You can search on it. And before we started the official panel, I want to ask you a favor. So we have been doing this for a couple of years, doing a lot of offline events. Although it's fantastic to meet person in line, we want to stay connected afterwards. So we want to build our online community so that we can connect with each other and also follow up later. So if you have cell phone today, I want to ask you a favor. There's a couple of QR codes here, our LinkedIn code. So please scan that and follow up. And we will keep you posted about future events, our online episode, and also we have a WhatsApp and a WeChat group. So please scan that to join. And we'll also keep these slides on, so later you can scan it. Please scan it so that we can stay connected afterward. Thank you very much. And given that, I also want to thank several partners that made this tonight's event possible. The first one is Xoogler community, and I'm also Xoogler community member. And so I will speak on behalf of the community. When I was working at Google before, and when I was leaving it, I realized don't know what it is ahead. So it's a little bit scary. And that's the time I know Chris and the Xoogler community. And Chris organized a lot of events like what we have today, to have people who have been through journey and talk about experiences. That eventually made me an entrepreneur at Xoogler. It's incredibly helpful community, so you can find more information at xoogler.co. And then we also have a partner, Pillsbury. Without them, this event wouldn't happen. So Keith, please come to share.
All right, thanks, John. And we actually met at a Xoogler event, so always really excited to be giving back to the startup community and helping founders like Jen and the rest of you guys kind of grow as much as possible. I'll be super brief. My name is Kit Ryan. I'm a venture capital, corporate, and M&A attorney here at Pillsbury, which is really just a fancy way of saying I work with a lot of founders and startups and help them grow from formation all the way through IPO and beyond. For those of you who don't know Pillsbury is an international full-service law firm that, and that really just means that we have attorneys that specialize in pretty much every practice area of law, from IP, employee comp and benefits, startup, corporate, you name it. We have attorneys that do it. And so if you have any questions about anything legal related, business related, I'd be happy to talk with you. And for those of you who don't know what 1202 stock is, definitely come find me after this. You can save a ton of money. All right, that's it.
Thank you, Keith. We have another partner, Tanka. Yep.
Just give us a second. I think we have a slide. All right, there we go. Just while they're pulling up the slides, I just have a quick poll for everyone in this room. May I ask, like, how many of you are founders or you guys want to be founders? Can I have a show of hands? All right. So as Jing said, his goal is to help founders, and we at Tanka, our goals are actually aligned, because one of our main goals is actually to support startup founders and also SMEs. So what we're building is a multi-agent platform, especially vertical agents for startups and founders, like people like you in this room. And what we're building are essentially two parts. The first part, just in general, what we're trying to build is an AI co-founder, what you can think of. And we're not trying to replace your co-founder, we're trying to augment your team. And there are two things that we're doing. The first thing is we have our own platform, which allows you to essentially do all the things that you need to run as a business. Like we have our IAM, we have our integration tools. One of our main features is our memory systems, which you can build your company's memory base or knowledge base. And also we can execute by helping you guys creating weekly recap and pitch deck based on your memory instead of just doing prompts. And then other things that we're doing, this is another thing we're doing, which is vertical agents, specialized agents for founders like this one, fundraising agents. So if you're founders who are first time, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, we have this fundraising agents, and we'll be publishing more fundraising resources out there just to help founders to raise fund faster. And we have a fundraising agent, and our end point is to make warm intros to big VCs out there. So right now we've already onboarded like 90 or so VCs, including Lightspeed, General Catalyst, and so on. Could you just go to the last slide? Yeah, those are our partners. And yeah, if you're interested, feel free to scan this QR code and join our waitlist. And also, as Jing said, we would love to stay connected even after the event. So we didn't have the QR code up there, but feel free to connect us on LinkedIn. You guys can just search Tanka and follow us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So for the next part is the startup spotlight. So we have a lot of amazing founders in the community. So we want to provide this opportunity for them to showcase. And also before that, I want to call out, so we have another partner, Key. They are an awesome event platform that's our community as well. And May is over there. Really excited to collaborate with them and Xoogler community to make this happen. Given that, let's start the spotlight session. So the first company, Coco Index. Let's get a round of applause.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Googlers and founders. Under AI agents and knowledge-based building, so that's a great transition for us. So we are building data transformation for AI. I have our ex-Googler that was at Google for 8+ years, and we're building data infrastructure, next-generation data infrastructure for AI. So Coco Index is an ultra-performant data transformation framework that is uniquely to do incremental indexing. So if you have a large corpus, it will only process what's changed. AI workloads, and also incremental and custom logic. So basically, you can use it to transforming any sort of logic to prepare the knowledge. Can we go to the next page? So these are the kind of things that you can use Coco Index to build. Index building for RAG, like vector indexing embeddings, knowledge graph building, structured extraction. On top of that, you can use any custom logic, any modality, and with out-of-box incremental processing. So with a few lines of Python code, you will have production-grade data pattern. So these are a few examples you can use for RAG, knowledge graph, structured extraction, recommender system. In addition to the EDO framework, we'll also provide a companion that helps you understand your AI data pipeline step by step, make it significantly easier to understand what's going on and deploy your data pipeline. And finally, we're an open source project. We have 2.3K GitHub stars used by multiple enterprises. Please support us by a GitHub star if you have an account. And finally, about founders, I'm a fellow Googler at Google for 8+ years. My co-founder was a tech lead at Raphia. That was the indexing that's all of Google, and you can find my contact here. And if you're building AI agents, building a data infra space, you can find me after the session. Thanks.
Thank you, Ling Huang. I'm also now a user, so it's a fantastic tool. The next founder,
Thank you. Yeah, I know that last name is a bit complicated. Hi, my name is Max. Can we switch to the second one? Okay. My name is Max. I'm from Europe, from Poland to be specific. And we move to the next one. And we are building with a mixed team coming from States, coming from Poland, a new solution for gaming. Because we assume that maybe people are getting bored with stuff that they've got in their phones. So we've tried to build something totally new. And how we try to make it happen? Can we move? We've tested a few solutions on human beings, because that's the very best thing. We are betting on something, and founders' journey is always connected to making experiments with first early adopters. So thanks to that we got around 1,600 guys playing with our very early version of the game, AI-driven, we'll get to it. It gave us promise that something that we've been building for over 1 year and spent a lot of money doing bootstrap, we're heading in proper direction. Let's move. So, in the end, we thought that we are going to build Audible 2.0, but the true story is that we are focusing on building totally different type of experience. So the freedom of choice was the UVP that people told us, we want to spend money on it. So we would like to have a game which is open-ended, which doesn't have guardrails, which doesn't have any walls that will be limiting us. And we are going to be a driver which is putting our protagonists in new situations. You could think that LLMs could do this, and you're wrong, and we'll get to it. Let's move further. Next. Oh, thank you. So we are starting with, obviously with Apple platform, with Android, and also with Steam, because that's obvious for gaming to be on a Steam platform. The beauty of it is that we've already published 6 different games, so we know how to do proper LTV to CAC, we know how to promote games, and we are going to do yet another success story out of it, but without top level. Next one, please. Okay, so LLMs cannot do this. The thing is that you need to build a totally new system. So you need to train new model, which is totally unusual for this project. We've built an AI ground up, so we aren't wrapping around any existing LLM. Next one, please. Guys, if you would like to the last one. Thank you. If you would like to test it out, just get in touch with me. You've got the QR code on the screen. We are giving out test flight access, so you will be able to see how the future of gaming looks like. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. The next one is George from Sushi.
Hi everyone, show of hands. Who likes sushi? Raise your hands. Okay, who likes data? Okay, great, awesome. My name is George Matillo. I am technical founder and CEO at Sushi Data. I'm an ex-Googler. And we are intelligent operations for marketing tech teams. I built the homepage for cloud.google.com. I also built our chatbot. So I'll move really quickly here. Without automated competitive research, teams move slower, win less, and they waste a lot of resources. This is a real quote from one of our customers. They're currently in an LOI with us. They spend 3 weeks doing competitive analysis landing pages and up to 80% of someone's time, and yes, it's a lot of work. This business is solely focused on marketing competitive research, and they charge $6,000 up to $14,000 a month, and we expect startups and SMBs to do that all on their own? It's not possible. So our ICPs are asking for help, and competition will only get tougher in the age of AI. You have brilliant minds that can now bytecode your entire startup. Data is moat, so we focus on that. The winners will move faster, learn deeper, and adapt first. So we built a solution that unifies external and internal data. Then we analyze it for you. We create tags, we categorize it, we interpret all that data. Then we enable templates that you can just one-click deploy so that you can essentially do all of the manual work in minutes. And ultimately, we show you results. And just to recap, these are the real screenshots of our application. This is how we unify all that data. This is how it looks for us to analyze all that data. We give you competitive automation templates, and we give you results. We turn weeks into minutes, and we do that for crypto.com. One example that is really compelling is that incident occurs in the wild. This is a real thing that happened. Negatively spreads like a disease. Then we catch those things, and we notify the people that care about it. And then they, in this case, the Cloudflare CTO, goes in and they do something about it, and they turn all that negativity into positivity. So we turn issues into opportunities. And I just want to leave with this. Intelligent operations isn't just about automating manual tasks. It's about protecting your reputation against those who will magnify your failures. And I'll end with this. I mean, obviously, big market. We do not tell your salespeople what to do. We simply help you win markets, campaigns, and messaging. We charge $2,500 a month for our offering, and we just need 500 companies to reach $15 million in AR. We're working with Cloudflare, Crypto.com, Ookla, and ultimately, what people think about us. Very talented team. We have a product. We have early traction. We're raising $230K in saves. We just landed 2 extra customers yesterday. We'd love to chat with you if you're interested. Thank you.
The next founder is Sachi from Sachi.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm a former Googler who actually worked in the preschools at Google. Many people don't know that Google had preschools, but thank you. Can you imagine a deep, meaningful relationship with an educator in your childhood? Most of us can. So I'm a former educator, and I believe that these deep, meaningful relationships need to be fostered outside of the classroom. 82% of educators currently have a second job to make ends meet, and 43% of parents are looking for flexible childcare that's educational and not on a screen. And that's where we come in. So we're here elevating babysitting and childcare to another level where we bring you licensed educators. Oh, sorry. This is our product. We have a value-based rating system and matching algorithm for flexible booking. We have calendar integration, and we vet our educators to a gold standard. So our educators have the highest level of rating across childcare marketplaces. We have early success, and we have something that went viral called our fair wage calculator. We had over 42,000 hits in less than 2 months. That is because we're listening to our customers who are searching for answers in this unregulated space. So remote work is up 125% over the last 5 years and only growing. And I think parents are looking for hybrid solutions to childcare and education. Many parents are moving to micro-school models, homeschool models, and hybrid schools. And that's kind of where we come in to supplement educational home support, especially with the cuts to the Department of Education that everyone has been seeing happening. These are really unfortunate cuts, and our public schools are suffering and our educators are suffering as well. And again, that's where we come in. We are currently not raising, but we are preparing to raise in the fall. So please feel free to connect with me after this if you're interested in learning more. And thank you so much.
Thank you. So the last spotlight founder is Arjun for RTRVR.
Hey guys, so I'm Arjun. I'm presenting Retriever AI, which is an AI web agent in your browser. So our goal is to 100x web productivity. So a little bit of background. I used to work at Google Ads, pioneering vertical federated learning, and what are we trying to solve is like agentic automation across sites. So say you want to automate LinkedIn, but like want to connect from HubSpot. Or you want to like enrich data in your data set similar to Clay, but with authenticated sites that are blocked on the public web. And so it's right now the form factor is a Chrome extension that you can just give natural language commands like go add max on LinkedIn, and it will take actions in your browser similar to what you do. And I could do a quick demo if it...
With Retrievers v12. With Retrievers v12.
Third time's the charm.
With Retrievers v12.5 update, you can forget about MCP servers, as Retriever can create tools on the fly. With just an access token or API key on your web page itself, Retriever can generate a tool to call that API. So if you're just on it.
So you can just give it natural language prompt, like use the API's key on screen to generate code to call this API, then go to LinkedIn and load all my most recent connections to HubSpot using this new tool that got generated. And then, Retriever can use native LLM functionality of generating code generation, of opening LinkedIn tabs in parallel, and extracting data from them. So it's like it went to LinkedIn and it's opening all of these people's profiles in parallel, getting their contact info all across parallel tabs, and then extracting all this data to Google Sheets, and then calling the tool we just created to load these contacts to HubSpot, and it's right there. So that is what we're doing, using off-the-shelf LLMs to build all these capabilities of creating one single agent that can do web agentic actions, doing research on the web, integrating tools, and we beat OpenAI Operator in a benchmark just using Gemini Flash. And we're 7 times faster than the next best agent, and it only took $30 to do this benchmark compared to $3,000 for competitors. So right now we're doing a pivot. We're completely have a wait list for like a web platform as we're switching from a Chrome extension. So try it out, join the wait list, and you'll get notified.
Thank you, Arjun. All right, so I think we are going to the most exciting part of today. Not yet. So there's one more thing before we do the panel, which is Photoshop. Let's welcome all the panelists coming on stage. Let's do a photos and then get a panel study. Priyaa, Junyu, don't be shy. It's your spotlight time now. Okay, so we have amazing photograph today. Yi will take a photo of us. I will follow your instruction. What we should do? Okay. Should we stand here? Okay. Okay. Should we? Okay, like this? Okay, great. Great. I just want to make sure everyone. 1, 2, 3. What is your favorite fruit? Cheese! Alright. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Before you have the delicious food, you always have a little bit of work for movement. Which was that? Okay, let's have a seat. Okay, let me just go this. So there is this buttons. Let's press it and it becomes green.
Testing.
Oh. We're doing this. It's good. Okay. All right. So we have an amazing panel today. Very, very excited to have you. You, a lot like Priyaa and your ex-Googlers, Junyu work in scale before. And I want to do a proper introduction. So I do what a host needs to do for you, which is stalking your LinkedIn before this thing. So I stalk your LinkedIn. I want to do a little thing, which is I will read your LinkedIn, give you the LinkedIn versions to the audiences, and then your job is in the next 90 seconds give some information that is not available in your LinkedIn to our audiences on yourself and also your company. So Anna, I will start with you. Your LinkedIn says you published 39 research papers, 2x ACM, ICPC World Finalists. Wow. Google DeepMind research scientist. And your recent launch video got 2 million views on X. I remember it already. Yeah. Tell us more things that the reality behind your achievements.
Okay, so my LinkedIn is kind of outdated. So first thing, I have more than 39 papers. Because after I started a company, similar, we published 2 more papers in there. And one of the paper won the best paper in iClear 2025, a Gen AI workshop.
Wow,
yeah.
That's cool.
It's actually good to publish papers as a startup, because someone mentioned Google OpenAI is not publishing paper now, and the school is kind of struggle on publishing papers, and a startup can publish paper now.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. So Priyaa, I'll start next for you. Your LinkedIn shows you're product leader at Waymo, Slack, and Microsoft. You're building design AI models for consumer brands. Tell us what is behind the scenes for you.
I'm building AI models that are completely controllable and steerable that can generate creatives for consumer brands. What you don't find on LinkedIn is I was very early to Microsoft OpenAI partnerships. I drank the Kool-Aid about AI back in 2018, but I was stuck in H1B for so many years, so I couldn't become a founder. So I finally was able to get my overnight success when I won a hackathon, and my first angel check was from the CEO of Replit. And here I am building Leica. We raised our seed round. We're used by some of the iconic brands in high fashion in LA and New York. So it's a really exciting time.
Indeed, very exciting time. So Junyu, your LinkedIn states you are a COO at DeepVista, you are YC alumni, and you are former Scale AI team member. So give us some future story.
Hey everyone, it's good to see you all here. Thanks for having me here. My name is Junyu. I think what's not shown on LinkedIn is probably, I think before we got into YC with my last company, I interviewed YC 4 times. I got in the last 4th time. And then before we got in, we pivoted 8 times. And all of my four interviews with YC was completely different ideas. And before that, I was building AI products for different industries for both technical and non-technical users. And I came to the conclusion that I think this scarce layer in the future is not the models itself, it's the infrastructure. And so that's what we're building at DeepVista. So we're building an AI cloud that makes open source AI models accessible and reliable and performant to everyone, so that hopefully we can empower the next wave of explosions of AI applications.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So as your host, the next thing I do after stalking your LinkedIn is to compiling all the questions you left when you register. And thank you very much for leaving the questions. There's tons of questions. Thankfully, I have the cloud helping me to do that job. I think the first thing I want to start with is that I want to start with the origin of your on projects. Why you get started to work on what you work? Maybe Annie can start.
Yeah, so I was a researcher in DeepMind. I was actually the second researcher in the Mountain View team, and DeepMind was our mission is to solve AGI, artificial general intelligence. It's hard to it's actually hard to define this term even from the very beginning. I still remember there was one day one of my colleagues was saying one of her friends joined a startup called Anthropic. And during that time, I don't know what that company is. And they told me this company is solving AGI. And I was asking, like, what do they think about AGI is? And she told me they believe language is AGI. And I don't believe that. So I didn't join Anthropic. So yeah. And then I have to think about the question, what is AGI? Right? It's something that can speak like human, the human level, AGI system. Which that's not something I believe. I believe that should be something which can do something that human do. So do is actually like action in there. So that's why I believe have some system that can have some control ability just like human is the minimum form of AGI. And that's why I started this company called Xoogler. And the goal is to create the minimum form of AGI system that can be something useful. And what we're doing is we call it autonomous computers. Basically, we try to create the next generation computers which can move the mouse and type the keyboard just like human. And if that's something we can do in the future, then the computers become a human-like thing, just can replace all of the digital workflows that we do today manually. So that's we call it like autonomous systems. It's kind of like the minimum form of AGI, but I don't really want to advertise for AGI word because it's so ambiguous given the current word in there. And many people call it agents. That's the interesting part. I started a company in 2023, and I tell everyone I'm doing agents, but no one understands it. People try to convince me, say you should call yourself assistant. There's no word called agents. But back in 10 years ago when we were working on the research stuff, we believe agents is like the initial form of AGI system in the research community.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so you really starting from this to pursue your definition of AGI, which is autonomous systems. Yeah, that's fantastic visions. Priyaa, what is your story behind your company?
When I joined Microsoft, I was in this team where we had to make M365 cool. It's definitely a very tough job. And we got access to some of OpenAI's early models, and we got this mandate that maybe AI can make it cool. So figure out a way to do it. And I was kind of driving that product, and I realized that we could use AI to democratize design for everyday people. But what we had to work with was an outdated graphic engine, a team of people that just cannot get along with each other, too many interdependencies. And even though we eventually shipped what is really the most successful Microsoft product, it's called Designer. It kind of powers all creatives generated across PowerPoint, Bing Ads, and so many other endpoints. At that time, I just felt like this is not enough. We are not actually democratizing design. What we're doing feels more like a glorified macro, automating a bunch of clicks. It's not really intelligence. So since then, I had this idea of how can we build a creative brain that can exist on the cloud, that can be used for everyday folks like any of us in this room to be able to express themselves. So then I moved to Snap to lead a new team for AI-generated AR. Learned a lot about how consumers want to express themselves, and eventually when I started Leica, it was with a mission to democratize design, and we kind of zeroed in on consumer brands today just because there's a lot of people around the world. As a startup, we cannot target every single person when we go out in the market, so we decided to focus on a niche where they have to communicate with a specific group of people, and how can we build a creative brain for them, and that's kind of how I got here.
I love how you put it, the creative brain, because a lot of us, let's say AI, they think about productivity, but you want to make it a creative, which is very creative by itself. Priyaa, I also would love to hear your story.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, my past life, I worked on many different AI products for different industries. And when I was Yale, I was on the AI infra team. So our team was basically responsible for all the model deployment infrastructure for all of the internal products that we had, as well as for external customers. So OpenAI was one of our pilot customers, and that was right before ChatGPT. And at the time, I just saw, there was a huge demand for such, I think, performant and reliable infrastructure for all of the AI companies. But at the time, the only companies that could afford all of this is, like big customers and enterprises. And after ChatGPT and all of the LLMs, you could see, I think, from that point on, if you kind of look at the trend of AI adoption, as well as the trend of the cost of inference. Basically, you will see a very nicely, inversely correlated graphs. As the cost of inference, basically all of the intelligence, right? That includes all of the closed source models, OpenAI and Anthropic, as well as the open source ones. As the cost goes down, you will see, basically a lot more AI adoption across all the industries. And so what we want to do at Novita is we want to kind of continue to drive the cost down. Basically, we want to make it a commodity so that everyone can build and the all of the AI models and AI is truly kind of accessible and affordable to everyone that wants to build AI applications. And so right now, I think most of the AI adoption has been in the enterprise and bigger customers because they afford to buy all of the apps that are powered by the frontier models, but there isn't really a lot of the for example, consumer AI apps, except I guess like ChatGPT. But I think we believe one of the main reasons is that the cost is still too high for kind of startup people to build, and so we want to power that, I guess, wave or explosion of AI applications.
That's well said. And we have a very interesting panel. They all want to make AI better. One want to make it more powerful. One want to make it more creative. And one want to make it more cheaper. So all good. I think AI is at good hands. All right. So for next one, I actually want to ask a question because I know you recently had your launch of the recent models and a fantastic gorilla video. And you made it like a 2 million, I would call 2 million in X.
Yeah, 2 million views in X in 2 days.
In 2 days. Yeah. So that's great. That's very creative.
And I spent 2 days on the video.
Only 2 days?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. 2 days, 2 million. I should learn from you. No, you couldn't go. I should ask, talk to you to the midnight today.
I was under pressure, because we are a startup. Once we have good results, we want to ship it out. Then I only have I remember I only have a week. When I first decided to launch product and to the final launch date, and then I called the producer. I think I only have a week. Can you help with launching? Because everyone is like a founder sitting there and camera, shooting the founder. Like I was saying, can we do? I think I showed them the Junyu Huang video from Meta. So Meta was during that time Meta has a release, and Junyu Huang was sitting there and talk about stuff. I said, can we do the same video? They told me I need $50K and
$50K.
Yeah, $50K and roughly 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I decided, okay, I have to do it on my own.
And it did in 2 days.
Yeah, I basically buy all of the AI video generation product on that 2 days and tried all of them. And View 3 is the best. Okay. Yeah, in the end, I chose the one with View 3.
Okay, cool. One product from Xoogler. Yeah. I'm proud of that. And I heard your ideas come from one of the dental appointments you had.
Yeah.
The gorilla idea?
Yeah, gorilla, the idea was initially a viral video in TikTok, and there's a dentist in LA. They made the gorilla jump doing skydiving, and accidentally broke his teeth. And then, so that was the time I remember in one of the meetings I showed, it's just for fun. In the meeting I showed my team, there's a fun gorilla view. And then we suddenly had the idea, can we do that for our launch, product launch? And then that was like right before we decided to launch the product.
Wow. Did you make another point to the dentist? Just say thank you.
Yeah, there's when I launched the product, there was a guy saying you should thank the. I think he was mentioning you should thank like other people, and then I thanked the dentist. The dentist actually like my yeah. And then I suddenly remember I need to make the appointment for my dentist.
Make sure, and you can give good tips.
Yeah.
And then they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Related to, I think I want to ask one related question related to that. I think everyone is talking about distribution. Like, I think ACs in this say distribution is everything, and it's clearly founders who like super good at distribution, get 5 billion views in a month. And as clearly another person who is very good at distribution, what is your tips to fellow founders, especially founders from more technical background or research background, on how to conquer the distribution?
Yeah, I want to tell one story. That was the first time I was doing fundraising. So I'm super technical. Like everything I talk about is just tech. I want to make AGI or something. And investors don't like that. So all the investors will ask the question like, what's your GTM strategy? In the beginning, I don't even know what GTM means. Yeah, and I have research. It's called go-to-market. And like everyone telling me, even I talked to some fellow founders, they say, okay, like I talked to a professor in CMU, he's doing a startup called Skilled AI, there is a lot of money. He told me, like he has to learn GTM. He doesn't know GTM at all. So then what happens when I was doing fundraising, I keep telling people, okay, this is my GTM strategy, this and that. I feel confident in there. But after like few investors, I realized they don't believe me. Because whatever I say in GTM, they don't trust me. They feel it's just like, BS in there. Because they clearly know I'm not a GTM person. So then, during my first fundraising, in the end, my winning strategy is whenever they ask me GTM question, I say, I'm not a GTM person. I don't know. Pass. Next question. So this is basically the way I got initial funding. It's just like whoever trusts me on building the tech, invest in my company. And whoever keep asking GTM questions, I just say no, I don't know in there. That actually saved me time. So it's actually like good. I feel it's when doing fundraising, it's kind of actually good to think about like strategy. Maybe highlight your strengths instead of like trying to provide answers to your weakness. I'm clearly know I'm not very good at GTM even now. I'm not good at it. But the reason we have some level of success in there is I'm more like a person who likes to try different random stuff. So yeah, so I usually take like a few days I talk to lots of different people in the internet, like a lot of them from India. And some people just reaching out to me, like they WhatsApp me, so I WhatsApp with these people who they don't have any high profile. They just like, okay, they kind of know what's going on in the social media kind of thing. So I actually learned from a lot of stuff from these people, and I feel it's a good knowledge. I feel I'm getting better and better, like knowing what's going on social media. And I was telling a joke. It's like in the past when I look at X, and I saw a lot of like impressions right in there. Right? I was asked why these people are like so good at posting stuff. And now when I look at X, I know exactly the price when I see dollar values on each of the posts. So I know the price on each of the posts, and when I look at the reply people, I know most of the people there. So there's actually lots of hidden rules in this kind of platforms. It's good to actually understand all the strategies, like through different channels. Are people buying ads? Are people like creating high value content in there? And that helps you to like think about your own strategy. And in the end, I tried lots of stuff. Also spend some money on it. And in the end, I found the golden rule is finding the most compelling content for yourself. It's like the story. Everyone likes stories. To find the most compelling story that can represent your company, represent your purpose. That's what people like to see.
Well said. Story and storytelling is so critical for founder journey. absolutely right, Elena. By the way, our mission and FounderCoHo is share founder story, feel founder journey. So if you so that's the reason why we had the FounderCoHo. Also the reason for the founder interview series. So if you are interested, please contact emails. Shameless promotion. All right. So I think I also mentioned a very interesting point, which is about how to pick investors. You do a very interesting approach. You basically just turn down some investor and future and find the right partners for you. I'm curious of Priyaa and Junyu all take about fundraising. How do you pick the right capital partner?
Wow, this is bringing a lot of PTSD. So we had a lot of rejections we decided to fundraise for 2 female founders, and for the first few weeks, we just kept getting rejected. And we kind of came up with different stories. Every time we get a rejection, we will kind of reflect on what else could we have communicated to this person. It also depends on the partner. And then took a step back. I think kind of like took the advice, like how Ang said, like some people have their own biases. Some people will, if they want to reject you, they're always going to find some component of you as a flaw that you probably thought of as a strength. So we eventually raised from Axel, from a really great partner who have led and took many companies public. So we're really, really lucky there. But one of my biggest lessons is that you will be able to tell intuitively in the first couple of minutes if they're a good fit. The first check you should do is, would you be interested in having coffee with this person, hanging out with this person, even if they're not an investor? Because this person is gonna come with you for a long term. So you don't want to make the relationship way too transactional. You really have to know if they're gonna get along with you. The second is, in an investor, there's a couple of things you should look at. As a team, if you're really technical, what do you want this investor to bring to the table? Do you want them to bring strategic relationship, customer relationships, hiring challenges? Because you have to work with a portfolio of investors if possible. There'll be one person who leads around, there'll be other smaller investors or angels. You really need to know what you want to get out of them. But at the end of the day, I think my lesson is keep your expectations low, because investors' job ended giving you capital. Everything else is a bonus. So it's really important to make sure you set that expectations right. And finally, there's always some demands that investors might come with and expectations they come with. It could be a board seat, or it could be like stronger opinions in the product. And you as founders must have very strong opinions about how you want to conduct these transactions as well. It's okay to take suggestions, but there should be a fine boundary that you need to draw to make sure that this is a relationship that can only operate based on certain priors that you both agree on. And yeah, I think you should also make sure that you have a very clear alignment at every single point, because you probably are going to pivot a lot, especially if you're raising as a seed stage founder, and need to have investors who are going to be very comfortable with that level of communication.
Yeah, very well said. I think you find a long-term partner, but also need to, there's kind of like a certain rules that you play when you interact with them. Also, Junyu, what is your take about?
Yeah, I think a lot of the good things have been said already. I don't have too much to add, and with my previous 2 companies, I wasn't the one who's primarily the one like doing the pitching. But I think what I would add is, also picking wasn't really our option in in the beginning. We also had a lot of no's as well. I think we maybe had like 50 investor meetings until we got our first big yes. And I think what we learned from that process is the story has to, I think the main thing that we had to answer to investors is why us. I think there's a lot of the ideas and teams kind of building the same thing. I think at the end of the day, I think what they will also get why this team, especially for early stage or seed rounds. And we realized the story we were telling in the beginning was just very common, and basically everyone else in the same YC batch was saying the same thing. And we also asked this question ourselves, why us? We realized we couldn't really answer the question at all. And so we had to kind of not like hard pivot, but like soft pivot to from like a horizontal tool to build for like a very specific vertical that was working already for us. So we decided to double down on like one vertical, and then I think the fundraising basically after we closed our C round in like a week, just because I think of the story. I think they finally just like it up. So I think that was just the biggest takeaway for us, and especially for early stage. I mean, rounds after that might be slightly different, and also I think the picking piece, I would say like for early stage round, like besides the institutions, I think it would be also a good idea to have like some friends and like angels who are well connected. They might not be able to write you a big check, but I think it would be good to have them on cap table, just thinking about like what they can add, right? Besides the money, I think at that point money is not as big, but just like looking at what they might be able to bring to you as you sort of like take off after the C round.
Yeah. I think what you mentioned also very resonating, especially the point about bringing friends and support. Basically, people support you along the journey as well. And one thing I also learned recently is like family and friends around are also very important because if you do this for a while, you give a reason for people to care about. Like even now your friends, if they are more investors, they wouldn't get benefit from your success. So give a reason for your friends to support you, and you'll get more resources, info for the future investors as well. And Jing, you also mentioned a very important question I'm pretty sure many of us will have to think about every day, which is about our differentiation. So this is a topic that many VC ask. And we also need to think about it, like honestly ourselves, right? So if we are building an AI application now, there's AI app, how do we differentiate ourselves from our competitors, or our big incubators who are thinking about this application? Maybe Priyaa, we can start with you.
Yeah, this is definitely a question that I always think about. I think that there's like two key differentiating levers. One is purely on the technology front, but that's also like close. The gap is fast closing, especially when these big tech companies are building models that feels like it's going to become a commodity. So one of the most important differentiators, at least from my side of the world, where we are building creative models that brands can fully control and steer, is that what are the proprietary data loops that will have high switching costs for this brand to go to another competitor that easily. And today, if you just look at some of the wrapper companies, especially on the creative side of things, where they just wrap a product around, let's say, VO3 or like Link or any of the newer models, then the switching cost for a company that's using them is pretty low, because it's not like beyond just getting that output, there's nothing else keeping them on that platform. So at the end of the day, you're then competing on a price basis. So you have to think about proprietary data loops. And then the other side is actually customer success is more important, because increasingly we are seeing companies just don't want people giving advice or a simple SaaS tool, because most of them don't know what AI can do for them at the pace at which it's going. So we actually have folks integrated into the creative teams of a lot of the larger brands and retailers that we work with, and they have started to expect that. So I think that's like forward deployment engineer style, but more for the creative front. And that service is probably going to set them apart, because right now with the pace at which AI is moving and changes that are happening, it's more and more important for you to be the singular outlet for both service and the outcome. It's not simply enough to dump a tool on them that they don't know how to use, and they have to upskill themselves on how to manipulate. So I would say these are the two key differentiators that I would see. But right now, the best way to differentiate yourself is to be nimble, because you don't really know all the potential that might be unlocked. So it's best to keep an open mind and keep iterating as you go.
Yeah, a very great thoughtful answers for this question. And Priyaa, I think you also mentioned a very interesting point, which is customer success. I think customer success is a very crucial part of the SaaS business. So before this AI wave, everyone needs to have sales team with customer success. because at the end of the day, it's a service business combined with a product. With the AI wave, everyone's talking about research, future agent, and people started getting more attention to this is a service. Like you need to have customer success team and other things. I'm also curious on your thinking about, because your background was very technical, the Google DeepMind, and work on super high tech and 41 papers. Now you're working on startup. So what is your take on this?
Just to double check on the question, it's like customers from research to
customer values. So I think the audience will be very interested to learn about, you have core technology, which you did before, but now you build a startup, the customer will only pay the value they get. What is your learning about the gap between technology and the value customer get, and how are you bridging it?
Oh yeah, actually related to our company journey. Like in the beginning, we tried to solve AGI, and we believe we are like, AGI researcher, and we try to produce the most general solutions for controlling your computer. That was in the beginning, and we are getting on the leaderboard. We become the number one on a leaderboard called OS World, and like a few days ago, we're still the number one. But we all know that even if we achieve the human level performance, it's not gonna be something that people will really use. Because like LLM, they hallucinates, right? If you ask, can you actually rely on something that hallucinates to accomplish your, job in your company, like some workflows in your company? It's not gonna happen. That's the problem. And even though the research is getting better and better, it's not good enough. So that's why we started to, actually that was one of the products we tried to produce in the very beginning. But because our research is getting better and better, we sort of like deprioritize that product. But once we have better research, we realize the problem is not gonna be something that customer will buy in their company. We pick it up, the old product, and polish that product again. And that was the one I released with the Gorilla video. It's called Similar Pro. So the idea is everyone, in general, there's a hype. Honestly speaking, there's a hype in the agent space. People believe, okay, if I have something, I go there and type one prompt, it's gonna just magically do whatever human can do. It's not the case. Yeah, in order for people to actually deliver something that's highly reliable and highly repeatable and something you can trust, you always need human to finish the last mile. Make sure every step is accurate. And that's basically part of the idea that we try to produce this Similar Pro product. So the idea is human can ask LLM agent to produce some kind of workflow, and they can also come in there, look at the code, look at the workflow, and do some editing to make sure everything is satisfied in their conditions. Everything is reliable. And then use that kind of workflow in their own company. So this is actually reflecting your thing, starting from research. Research is kind of like something really trying to sell the idea, sell the future. But when we talk to customers, we realize one thing: customers only care about now. They don't care about what's going to happen in 5 years. Even though I'm super excited about it, every day I was excited about 5 years from now we may be achieving AGI. Customers don't care about it. Everything they ask is maybe investors care about it, right? Investors care about the future, but customers always care about what you can give it now, give it to me now. So that's the gap. As a technologist, I have to keep I often say tell people, as a founder, I'm always paranoid because I need to think about the future of the company. At the same time, I need to be, stay grounded, look at the short term. Can I actually have some customer happy tomorrow? So yeah, it's kind of like a balance you have to take. Another way around, the reason why we decided to deprioritize this product is because in the beginning we realized, okay, we give people the way to edit the code, but it's not going to be future. right? It's something we can do certainly today, but what about next? Right? In order for the product to be more intelligent, we need to build up the research. If we don't have the long term, the company won't be sustainable either way. Right? It doesn't make sense for us to build this company. So it's kind of like you can 50-50. So you have to be very focused on what's currently like customer asking for. At the same time, you have to always thinking about the 5-year roadmap in there.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Like on one hand, you need to be very close to what customers say, but also at this time, because we're in the beginning of the AI wave, so a lot of customers, if we do the metaphor of when the automobile was invented, they're asking for faster horse. So we also have to kind of do the balance to lead them to what is the future of the product look like. Related to the value of the customer, I also want to ask you, Junyu, because your product, DeepVista, is very different than Priyaa and An's product. You are serving companies. You are providing this infrastructure so that other people can build applications. And you are also in the spaces like computing for cost. And so your value proposition is very clear, but you also face competitions from Google Cloud or other GPU cloud services. So what is your take on the differentiated value that you offer to your customers?
Yeah, I think in general, I don't have like a specific answer to how to build differentiation for all of the sauce. But I think in general, like before you sell or when you're selling to customers or users, you need to give them a reason to adopt your technology, your products, your services. And once they adopt your products, you also need to figure out ways to increase the cost of switching. Doesn't matter how you do it, but those are the main things.
I'm actually curious, what is your suggestions for our customers, especially infrastructure layer? For example, Liquai is also doing infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
How do you increase the switch cost?
Yeah. I think for us, like I mentioned, our positioning is we want to deliver the most affordable, reliable, and simple infrastructure solutions for developers. And in particular, right now, we're focused on serving startups and mid-market customers. And that's because, if you scale up, larger companies and enterprises don't really care about cheap. We have cheap, they don't really care about that for those profiles. And the way we are able to do this, I think there's like a few things that we do, but it's very specific to, I guess the structure and the nature of our product. So I don't want to go into specifics into it, but I think we, in the beginning of the company, we just decided that these few things are kind of brand messaging pillars that will guide our branding, our messaging, our products, even our who we serve. I think once we have that messaging of affordable, reliable, and simple, clear, then that will help us understand who we're actually serving and who are kind of the most ideal customer profiles. And again, the way we do this is we're not like a cloud. Our model is we don't build our own data centers. We work directly with all of the independent data centers. That's how we're able to be very light on all of the CapEx. Versus big cloud, like Google Cloud, they buy a lot of the GPUs. And if you look at the list price, although they will give you I don't have 300K of free price, we went to YC, we kind of knew the feeling of okay, pricing cost feels nothing to us until we get our first bill. That's when you start to think about how to optimize the cost. And we'll be there for when that happens for all of these startups, thinking about again the cost and also optimizing the cost while maintaining the quality and performance that they need for their products.
Yeah. So what I have to say is finding the right balance, but having clear value position versus cost, but also offer additional thing as reliability and stuff.
Yeah, and also the thing is we're a startup, we're more nimble than some of the bigger players in this space. That means they might be less responsive to very specific industries. For us, we don't want to serve all of the stages of the customers and then also industries. I want to focus on like very, I guess like a few industries that are kind of where we're most appealing to them.
Yeah, well said. Cool. So I know that our audience has left a lot of great questions, so I will leave more time today for the audience to ask questions, so please be prepared for your questions. And I will ask one last question from this group discussion side. The question is that from what you learned as you're building startup, what is the areas in the next 6 to 12 months that is most exciting for you? So what do you predict will happen in the AI startup field? Maybe I will start with you.
Yeah, I keep saying this to my team and everyone. It's like there's a benchmark of OS Word. So that's the benchmark for computers to use the mouse and keyboard performing digital tasks. There are hundreds of tasks in there. And in 2024, early Q1 2024, the best performing agent is based on GPT 3.5, and that's 5% success rate on that benchmark. And last October, that was a 20% success rate produced by our agent. It's called Agent S, last October. And then 1 week later, Anthropic released their cloud compute use. That's 15%. And this year in April, we got our Agent S2, that's 40% in that benchmark. And Human is 72% in there. And last Friday, we got Agent S2.5, that's 56%. Wow. And I think on Monday, Salesforce has another one. Every time we release something, another big company releases something right after, which is kind of annoying. But I have to say they are making progress as well. Salesforce has a 60% right now. So to reach human level to that benchmark, which is very challenging, we only have 12% now. Yeah, so I keep saying like maybe end of this year, early next year, you will see a computer which like moving the mouse around and doing lots of clicking, type keywords, and achieve human level, 72. Yeah, that's gonna be the first milestone I'm super excited about because I didn't expect this to happen so soon. Yeah, I was expecting like maybe in the beginning, like 2 years ago, I was doing 2028 maybe when AGI comes. There's like famous people doing prediction. They say like 2029 is like AGI or something. Yeah, but I have to say this is exciting. For this kind of technology to be really useful, it's definitely not there. Even the benchmark, when ImageNet was kind of saturated, people wouldn't say image classification is already solved, right? There might be more harder benchmark in the future. We might be part of, the creator of the more challenging benchmark because we see all of the real use case there. And I would say one of the learning we have is people normally has super complex workflows, so their prompt could be 100 lines. That's something we didn't actually expect in the beginning. Most of these benchmarks, they have queries with 3 lines of prompt or 5 lines of a very, very simple one, ambiguous. But in the future, we do imagine more and more complex workflows can be achieved by this kind of agents.
Yeah, clearly there's a lot of great technology breakthrough that happen in the next 6 months to 12 months. I have a quick follow-up question for you, is that if you are not working on similar and you're going to start a new startup, just imagine that case, what ideas you will work?
Yeah, so this is actually related to one of my hiring questions. Whenever we're doing interview, I always ask one question. Suppose I give you $1 billion now, what you would do? And normally 50% of people will not respond. 50% of the candidate will ask me directly. Suppose they give me $1 billion, what should I do? And I tell them, I will just keep doing what I'm doing right now. So basically, I believe everyone should try to think about this question. Suppose you want to start a company, what kind of company you want to do? That's the question I was thinking when I was DeepMind. Because I have a technical, goal. I try to with AGI, and I believe this is the minimum form of AGI. So it's basically whatever happens, I was just working on this problem. Unless this problem is solved. If we solve this problem, I may move on to the next level of AGI system or autonomous system, right? Which I believe to be, self-driving car or robots. But it's the same. It's an autonomous system with some level of control. It's just now the control is like simple one, moving the mouse and type keyboard. The reason why this one is so exciting is because once we have this kind of system deployed to real world, we can have like hundreds of millions of digital workers in all the companies. And human can be, like even when I talk to a lot of customers, they say I hire people in Mexico, I hire people in like India and sitting in front of a computer and doing this manual work. I believe these people, their creativity can be unleashed in the future. It's actually beneficial to the humanity. Like people can do more creative stuff. They shouldn't be stuck into this kind of mundane, manual work every day. It feels like a waste of their time. And no one likes it. Just repeating, feel like robots. So we gradually find, 2 years ago, like people keep asking me, like investors keep asking me, like, you're building this technology, what's that for? What's the use case? And I don't really have a good answer. But today, since we do lots of market research, we talk to lots of hundreds and thousands of people, we realize this is actually a technology that's gonna be like as a huge, not even on the commercial level, but it's more like on the humanity level that actually help people. So that feels so exciting about what we're building. But when I start a company, I don't really know exactly this type of thing. I don't talk to people about it.
Yeah, cool. So Priya, what is your?
So can you repeat the question?
So the question is, what you see are the exciting development of AI startup in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I guess I have a long list of things that I'm very interested in seeing, but specifically what I'm most excited about is where I can play a role in, which is there's two things that can happen in 6 to 12 months. People get really sick of AI content, and apparently an average person sees 4,000 to 10,000 ads per month.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and you don't have a choice besides watching it because we're all addicted to social media. And Zuckerberg recently in his earnings report said that they're moving more and more towards automation because they've automated a lot of how they serve content. They want to automate a lot of like how that content gets created as well. But because I'm operating in this field, talking to so many brands, they simply don't want to touch Meta's Ads Manager or TikTok's ads platform where they automatically tell the stories of these brands. And that's where we come in. What I'm really excited about is how we can play a role in making sure in a year from now that every other content you would see is created by AI, but that doesn't feel like slop that makes you cringe and want to throw away your phone or puke. But it feels like somebody is trying to tell a story to you in a way where that truly resonates with you and is very hyper-personalized. And we're building that technology that enables it. Today, a lot of the AI content really feels like there's a third wheel between you and that other person who's trying to tell you a story, and you don't know how to get rid of them. And we want to be the layer where it's quite invisible. You feel like somebody's really talking to you, and we can build that creative engine that makes it all possible for everyday people.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting development. I think that as AI is getting better, there could be much better storytelling as well. And since Priya mentioned about the Zuckerberg or the Meta, I have to ask you, Junyu, I know your former boss was hired by the Zuckerberg. What is your take on this? How do you think these dramas of hiring and talent war and paying out? How do you think Meta will play the role?
Yeah, I wasn't invited to the meeting, so I don't know what exactly will happen. But I think it's very exciting, where, the whole space is going. And what I am very excited about is, I think the progress that will be happening in open source AI. I think, in the past, I think half year. We
I have a quick question. Do we still have a hope on number 5? Do you think
I think so, but maybe it may not be the best model from Meta. But I don't know what the strategy will be. From my limited understanding of Alexander Wang, who is now the chief AI officer at Meta. I'm not sure he's the most open guy in terms of all the strategy around AI models. But I think because now practically Meta is not it's not like they're great. Most of a lot of our top models are from Meta, but I think they still have some work to do to catch up with some of the frontier models out there. So I think they will continue to do the open source because I think most of the adoption will come from that. But if they're able to build or train the best model out there, maybe they'll think about a different strategy about that. So I don't know. Again, I'm not in the meeting room, so what excites me most is the progress that we'll be seeing from the open source AI community.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, Meta might or might not continue to be the vanguard for the open source movement. The follow-up question I want to have for you is that today, OpenAI released the first open source model since 2019. It's very awkward. OpenAI hasn't been released any open models for 6 years, but they did. Do you think this trend will continue, or they were just just one model and then go back to closed source?
Yes, we believe that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be building the company. The goal of our company is to make open source AI model accessible and reliable to everyone. And today OpenAI just released 2 of their open source models that are comparable to GPT-4 Mini, and as well as some amazing reasoning capabilities. We have 2 models available on our platform from day 1. And
it's already available?
Yeah, it's already available.
I know you are fast, but don't know so fast.
Shameless plug. So if you go to novita.ai, novita.ai, you will see the models available for you to play around with on the website. And we continue to be one of the first providers to launch all of these models. We are also the first and only provider to launch K2. I think for 1 or 2 days, we're one of the few official inference providers on Hugging Face. So if you go to the model card on Hugging Face, you'll see us as one of the inference providers that power all these endpoints for the
Gotcha. So you basically you firmly believe that open source will continue and will continue to have the upper hand as going forward.
Well, I'm not sure open source will have the upper hand, but I think if you look at the history, the operating systems, and then also the mobile operating systems, you have iOS and Android as the second guy, and then I think open source almost has to be the strategy to drive adoption. If you're second, third, or if you're not the top 1 person.
There will be one player who will focus on it.
Yeah, so I think we believe this will continue to be the dynamic, in the whole space. So we're very excited to see all the progress not from OpenAI but also from all of the AI labs.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So now we'll open the questions to the audiences. So the gentleman.
Thanks. So I run a startup that uses the cutting-edge computer use models for a variety of things, and I'm curious, how do you think about incorporating, projecting how far the benchmarks will go, and incorporating model progress into your startup strategy, right? How do you plan? Okay, models get better and better at what pace, and how does that impact your what features you'll release down the road? And I know you're building computer agents, and we're using Agent S2 as well. But this is applicable to everybody for video creation, image creation models as well.
Yes, you read Agent S2, right? So basically, our conclusion is there will be one model that's super powerful. You should always use it. And that model most likely will not be open sourced. And there will be another model which is kind of specialized, and that model will be open sourced in there. So these kind of combo actually help you to become better in there. There's another layer called memory. Memory is super important in there. And I think at the moment, most of the technology looks kind of like an infrastructure wrapper orchestrating all the models. But we do think the next phase of computer use or agents is way beyond that, which needs some kind of continual learning capability. Right? When I talk to continual learning, people normally think, okay, I need to train the models, post-training the models and changing the weights. But we found, so far we don't have evidence that post-training the model is changing the weights is the right way of doing continual learning. We don't have evidence for that, even though I trained units for 10 years. So far, I don't have evidence this is the ultimate way. Maybe prompt engineering is a better approach. I would say for now, it's kind of in the exploration phase. There might be more and more. We might release new papers about it. Basically, the whole idea is how to effectively train your agents without forgetting the past experience. Yeah. So there might be some paradigm change pretty soon.
Hi. Very. Yeah, thank you. That's a great panel. My name is Irakli. I'm from Georgia, MBC. I have a question about hallucination. How to solve this problem, and when do you think it will be solved? Hallucination of.
I think you can see hallucination as a feature or a bug depending on which area you're working on. I don't have an answer to how we would solve this because frankly, even humans hallucinate, so I don't really know if we can completely solve it. There's always going to be an aspect of it where it's not going to do things in a very deterministic way, which is why I do believe that there's going to be verification loop. It can be human driven or it can be other model driven that are going to be prominent parts of it. On the, I guess to answer the earlier question around benchmarks as well, on the graphic engine model side, we're not actually building foundational video or image generation model, we're building graphic design model, which involves, if you take an ad, there's multiple components involved. There could be an SVG, text, overlay, animation, transitions. Currently, no model is thinking about layout planning and design planning when it comes to the whole creative. So we're building foundational model that's able to do this planning. And there are only 2 companies that are involved in this space, so there are no benchmarks. Microsoft and Adobe are the only 2 people because only they have the proprietary data sets to even get into this space. Every other diffusion technique-based model companies are focusing a lot on asset generation that replaces camera-generated assets, making them AI. So from our point of view, we are building the benchmarks first to even evaluate what does it feel like to have a human do it versus an AI do it, to come up with these designs, plan out the design actions needed to compose something which involves multiple file formats, starting from media like video, text components, graphics, logos, all of that. And then think about what the future looks like. In that sense, right now, I think we are thinking more just in terms of a year or 2 years. But I do think in the next 5 years, once there's more attention to this matter and more funding to this, we'll probably see more rapid progress and more open source models. But right now, given how all the graphics engines have proprietary file formats, this graphic engine area is not going to move as fast as you see on the video side or the image side.
Can I add to the hallucination problem? And we do have a solution, which is kind of we believe the general direction is correct for solving hallucination. And the high level idea is so human also hallucinates. I talk random stuff, right? But how human, if you work in a company, how does your HR department to avoid people hallucinating? The approach they take is writing down whatever you see into a document. And then next time they give you the document saying this is what you say. Exactly, you can do word by word matching. So whenever you think about solutions for AI, it's kind of interesting. It just looks like how we solve people's problem in there. So our approach is called neuro-symbolic. So the symbol is kind of like code. We let the AI to write stuff down in their own, language versus code or whatever. It could be English, it could be code. We write it down as some kind of notes, and the next time we refer it back. So this kind of cooperation, we call it like neuro-symbolic two agents cooperation in there. We actually found it to be more reliable in terms of like producing a more reliable agents. This is the general direction we're pushing for. We do have like early validation. It's like a pretty good solution right now. It actually mimic how people communicate. When you write everything down to a Google Doc, share with your colleagues, they actually pass your information in a more accurate way. There's a minimum hallucination happens within your team. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's like an exact final solution, but it's more like a general direction we're going forward in there.
Yeah, so I have a quick question for Ang. I'm curious what you think are the most high-value use cases for computer use and browser use agents. And a follow-up question, what is your go-to-market? You mentioned the VCs didn't believe you, so I'm curious if you can convince us.
Yeah, and we are kind of like competitors. I'm happy to share my learnings because we are not really browser agent, we are a computer agent, computer company. So one of the high-level things in general, I'm not exactly sure. I know you're working on browser. I'm not exactly sure browser agent is the right direction. So that's my opinion. Because we found some technical barriers in there. Some stuff you just cannot click on it. But with computer, you can click on everything. And our approach is since we're a techie, we're just like doing lots of tech stuff and give it to lots of people, and then we collect data to see what's going on. And like 99% of the agent company right now, they're like manners, like ChatGPT agents. They have APIs, right? When I think about my company, we only have 7 people. We cannot compete with manners. They have 100-ish people building APIs. So basically, our approach, we can only use like mouse and keyboard. We choose to be focused on this. And then we have to think about if someone already have APIs, why should they use us? They should just use APIs. They should use like API agents. So this basically gives us a sense about who are our customers. Basically, whoever doesn't have APIs for their job, right? If they want to do Gmail, they shouldn't use us. They shouldn't use like browser agent. The same, right? So the only thing is, all this industry we have a name for it called API deficient industries. But we found it to be like related to highly regulated industries like healthcare, insurance, finance. These kind of industries, they don't have APIs. They are highly regulated, so they cannot use the API agents in there. And then that becomes the thing I was thinking about browser agents. But these industries, most of the softwares are desktop software. They're not really like I'm just browsing to a certain website and just want to like do some web browsing tasks like search. They are actually using the real software on Windows, like old computer. That makes us think computer usages might be better fit in there. Browser agents kind of in the middle, which I feel browser is kind of serving for consumer. It's not really serving for these like legacy industries. Serving for this consumer and doing some kind of search task, then you are kind of conflicting with deep research kind of directions. Potentially, it could be a better deep research. But to my understanding, it's like a super competitive space in there, and there are lots of browser agents in there. So that's why we actually focus more on. In the beginning, we do everything. We pretty general. But later on, we see more and more customers coming from these kind of directions, and we focus more on these industries to find. Actually, some of their problems are more challenging. They want everything to be on device. They cannot even connect to the internet. So we have to provide solutions to satisfy the needs. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all the panelists for your great sharing today. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thanks. I want to quickly ask, how do you differentiate, how do you know what you build in-house versus what you buy off the shelf? Like some famous founder says, we build what differentiates us, and we buy what accelerates us. I don't know if you have a mental framework like that.
I think, yeah, I think that's a great framework. Today we first try what is core value prop we tend to build. What we buy are things that we still have to validate, but beyond we reach a certain scale, we optimize the cost to see if it still makes sense for us to continue outsourcing, or should we keep it in-house. This works for both tools, human resources, and everything. So I think it all comes down to you testing out whether you need to build, and after you reach a certain inflection point where it becomes easier for you to build and maintain it in-house, you just like change your strategy.
Yeah, I want to add too. I think I agree with with what you said. Basically focus on building in-house, so that what makes you like a differentiator in the space. And I think for us, we want to enable you to build to focus on building the products and creating value for your users. And we are solely focusing on making again the model deployment, for example, in our case, available to startups. So we're kind of on the acceleration layer. And so I think for us, our thesis is if we are able to even increase the cost of inference even 10%, I think at scale will just be a lot for a lot of the products and companies with a lot of the users and traffic. So that's what we do, and I agree with what you said.
Just to add a few more, I take a little bit different approach. So my approach is, if I can buy, I just buy. I only do things that no other people can do better than me. So it actually also related to your position to the company, because I keep thinking about who I am for the past 2 years. So we built a lot of stuff. And then in the end, we found if I'm building something that only I know the secret sauce, that becomes the differentiator naturally of my company. So I don't have to keep struggling on okay, how do I compare with other people? I just try to do something that's something I can do, but I need a little bit stretch of myself. And if I had that feeling, this is exactly my position in the whole society. And then I realized, okay, actually, if I am doing that, it's harder for me to buy any solutions because no one else is better at doing this kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a backward thinking to solve this problem as well.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think we have two founders who would like to share quickly about their projects. Do you want to share? Let's keep it short, less than 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Yassine. I live in San Francisco in a hacker house. 3 of my roommates are backed by A16Z. Other roommates are incoming OpenAI. Currently work at the Google Ads team or at other AI labs. We host really fun and interesting events. So for example, our last event, we had the founding team at Cursor and the founders of Vappy and another company called CoFrame. We're hosting another event this upcoming Thursday, where we'll have the general partner, General Catalyst, who is the seed investor at Discord, Mercor, and a lot of other companies, and we'll have other VCs. So I know there's a lot of founders here, a lot of, show of hands if you're a founder. Awesome, and then show of hands if you're like an engineering manager, or an engineer. Yeah, so we host a lot of stuff around tech, so we'd love for you to maybe come approach me after, and I'm happy to give you guys our particle link and access to our hacker house. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one. Yeah, let's come.
Hi everyone, and thank you for the panelists. That was great. I'm Tasneem. I'm a tech journalist. Anyone here who's seeking coverage or has a story to tell, please approach me after the event. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Given that, let's get another round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so the remaining time of the evening is the social time. So please feel free to hang out, grab food. Hope you have a wonderful night. If you have not scanned our QR code and LinkedIn yet, there's plenty of time for you to do that. We're thank you so much for coming this evening. We're very looking forward to stay connected and see you in our future events. Thank you.